And of course, now look at this other thing as well. The reason I raised body counts right at the beginning is I sometimes feel that, we get so focused on how many people have died.
Yes.
Any disaster's magnitude is measured by the number of deaths. And that disturbs me. And I'm going to trail away a little bit here. But for example, on January 1st, there was a bomb blast in Lucky Marwat at a volleyball match. And more than 100 people died.
Right.
Yet that story did not get the kind of coverage as it should have, in my opinion, in the sheer number of casualties, as say an attack in an urban center.
Yeah.
So why is this happening?
The question of outposts. These are outposts for city, for Karachi, Islamabad and
Lahore,
Lahore.
for example.
Most of the media presence is headquartered in these three cities.
Right.
And these places are outposts. And if anything happens in these cities, that's a big story. But any serious disaster, bigger disaster in outposts,
tends to die out or doesn't get that much repeated coverage.
Yes.
And of course, continuing on that same track, if there is a high number of casualties in an urban center, then it gets a lot more play. Even, for example, Cyclone Pet. Thank God there was very limited loss of life because of the cyclone. The casualties we've had is because of electrocution.
Yeah.
And for that, I think I think it's time to sue KSC. But hey, that's my personal opinion. But the cyclone caused no direct casualties. Is that another reason why the cyclone then just got dismissed? I mean, the media doesn't follow stories about food, shelter, housing people.
Yeah, it doesn't.
They don't care.
I mean, they don't care. Like you said, the visuals. I don't think the body count is more of visuals. Do have a visual? Body count, even if two people lie, if there is a visual, big, huge visual, they'll go for it. But I don't know. Yes, visuals are very important. And
but they shouldn't be the driving force, should they?
I don't know. Again, you can talk about it. You can say no, it's wrong. But an editor sitting at his desk is moved by the pictures, the visuals. And the more visuals are there, the better it is.
Of course, it becomes more attractive. Yes. I'm guilty of the same. I'm not going to get on a high horse and say I've never done that. Of course, I've done that as well. But here's another story that, of course, another thing that has been bothering me about us, since this is my little self-critique of our media. We have not really been focusing on stories outside our own borders, unless they've been huge. And I remember reading just this past weekend, 119 people died in a fire in Dhaka when a building caught fire. There were chemicals down there. It wasn't reported. It's been reported in the newspapers. I know Tribune has reported it, but absolutely no coverage on our television channels. What's going on? Bangladesh was once part of us.
See, Quatrina, I say there is never a dull moment in Pakistan. Pakistan is one place where things are happening every time, every day, almost hourly or by the minute. So whatever happens in Pakistan is much more important to Pakistanis than what's happening in Bangladesh.
But should it be like this?
Well, there are perhaps icons in various channels which focus on. I mean, in their early news bulletin, they have at least about a
clip
minute
of
or two,
news,
or minute or two.
For example, I guess the reason I'm leading up to this is also that would the whole attack, Israel's attack on the Freedom Flotilla that was heading towards Gaza, if Talat Hussein and his colleagues had not been on board that ship, would we have paid 1/10 of the attention that we paid to it?
That's again a conjectural question.
It
in
is,
the sense,
of course it is.
I would think even then we would have done it.
We would have done it.
Okay. Because again there was the visuals. There was again Palestine and Israel is very near to our issues.
Do we still have that? Do we still consider Palestine and Israel our issues? You haven't seen any change in that?
No, I don't think so. Yes.
Which is good to hear, because sometimes because the Freedom Flotilla itself got no coverage in the television media until the attack happened.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was. Perhaps nobody took any notice of that in that sense. When they were going to break the blockade.
Yeah.
That was a very serious matter.
Very serious. I was following it in newspapers, but I didn't see it on television.
Nobody talked about it. I think Talat should have talked about it before he went.
Actually, he was. You know, in all, I was watching Talat's dispatches from the ship, and I was watching him doing it. And that, you know, whenever I got time, I'd watch it. But he was the only, because he was there. So that brings me to my next question: should the Pakistani media be spreading out beyond the confines of our own borders? We are so restricted.
Yeah, we should be. We should be. Like, I mean, that was a great job Talat did. Most of us should be going out and covering international stories as well, but stories which are relevant to us.
What stops us? Money. I know financials, where there is a recession, it's hitting the whole industry. Is that one of the main reasons?
Money is perhaps the most important thing. Then again, imagination.
Imagination. I think that's such a crucial point of it, that it's really, really hard. I mean, after all, other news channels are surviving, like if you want to say BBC or other. I mean, I'm sure BBC isn't rolling in the bucks with the recession either, but they're doing it. Do you think that's likely to happen? Do you think the Pakistan media is going to mature?
Yes, I think so. I think so. Pakistani media has matured fantastically, very fast, very quick. I mean, just look at the age. 2004.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what is now 6 years, and we have covered such a lot.
That's
I mean, when earthquake happened, nobody had this experience of covering a disaster, and a disaster of that magnitude. And we did it. Fantastic coverage.
Mrs. Ziauddin, M. Ziauddin, Executive Editor of Express Tribune. Thank you so much for having joined me here tonight on Witness. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I was playing devil's advocate, trying to get Mr. Ziauddin to at least spill out and tell us that television news is all bad. But he was very consistent, and he didn't. And he actually defended the role of the media. And there are plenty of good things that can be said about the Pakistani media. But I think, crucially, I think the one point that we do agree on is that Pakistani media needs to mature further. And of course, it is a new industry, and we'll keep trying. But coming up next, Afghanistan's Interior Minister and Intelligence Chief resigned following the Taliban attack on the Afghan peace Jirga last week. What kind of impact is that going to have on regional security, particularly on Pakistan? More on this, but after a short break, so please stay with us.